Hello and welcome to the Elevate podcast. I'm your host, Patricia Nowakowski. I am a salon owner, educator, mindset, and leadership coach that helps salon owners go from overwhelmed and burnt out to motivated and empowered. It is my mission to help you systemize your business, generate more profit, and create a career that you are absolutely in love with. Join us every week to learn about the small shifts you can make to elevate your business regarding mindset, marketing, social media, business systems, and so much more. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Elevate podcast. I'm super excited to just share the changes I've really been diving into and implementing in my business. The year of 2024 is all about restructuring and refining. I'm going to share with all of you how I completely moved away from your traditional hourly pricing because it just wasn't working for my business. If you've been feeling overwhelmed and overworked from owning your salon, you're not alone. If you're like many salon owners, you wanted to build a salon that makes you feel fulfilled, passionate, and something that brings you freedom and flexibility into your life. But you ended up being exhausted from taking on all your business tasks alone. It doesn't have to be this way. It's time for change. The Elevated Salon Owner Collective will help you do just that. You'll automate your salon, implement solid business systems, transform your salon culture, and take charge of your online presence to regain freedom back into your business. I'd love for you to experience the freedom and fulfillment that you've desired when you decided to create your business. To learn more, visit opulentbeautypro.com/elevate or click the link in the show notes. I want to go over the why it wasn't working, the pain points, the holes and gaps that I found inside of utilizing this price structure for the last 3 years. And then I want to go into how and what I'm going to implement and the changes I've made to my service menu, which I'm so excited about. First and foremost, for the last, I would say 4 weeks, the end of December. And I always dive into my numbers, but I've really been deep diving into numbers for most of January and for December. I really wanted to move into 2024 with business strategy that made sense, with fact-based information, so I could make a logical decision that was going to produce results and strategic results for my business. Now, when I started really deep diving into our numbers, our profit margins, and really looking at areas of my business, I started to realize that hourly pricing was just not working for me and not working to really create the profit margin, if any profit, for my business. And here's why. The thing with my team is, let me just tell you how amazing my team is. They're so incredible. They are so technically challenged. They're all so driven. They're so motivated. I am so proud of my team. This is honestly the best team that my salon has held since we've been open. They're solid. For me and for hourly pricing, usually what happens to spread out the ability to cover all of the amenities provided inside of the service is that your newer stylists take more time. They take longer time to do things, right? That wasn't the case for me. So my stylists are very on point with their standard timing for their services. So when I was looking at my numbers, my lower price point stylists were not generating profit for the amount of amenities they were offering for each service. Now, the cost of supplies has gone up. We know this. It's crazy. Some things have even doubled. So when I really broke down the numbers and looked at gloves, bond builder, expensive treatments, all the toners, the root smudges, all of these things at a lower price point was bleeding my salon dry. So when you're looking at a $65 price point compared to a $120 hour price point, now the $120 hour price point can definitely cover and provide a great profit margin, right? My $65, $75 an hour stylists, that wasn't the case. Now, I really only have a few stylists at a higher price point, right? I would say 65% of my stylists are either at a lower rate or a low to mid range for their hourly rate. And their timing is spot on. It was a huge bleed out for my business. When I looked at my numbers, and this was clearly evident, I realized that my lower price point stylists could not offer the same amenities that the other stylists were offering at a higher price point. So that was my number one. This is very based on facts, right? Now, there are a couple issues that I have expressed with hourly pricing that were the things that kind of pushed me to also want to switch my pricing and my menu. I really feel that hourly pricing was limiting my stylist growth. And here's why. There are certain foundational services that hold a value from the consumer standpoint at a lower price range. And those services are like blowouts, your standard haircut. Now, we're not talking about, a haircut specialist. We're talking about your basic haircut, right? These are foundational services that are low risk services that clients are willing to try when they're looking at trying a new salon. There was a study done, and I, for the life of me, cannot find it. Again, I've been doing research for the last 6 months. I should have saved this. There was a study done that showed that clients are more likely to try a haircut when it came to trying to find a new stylist over any other service before investing a high dollar amount in a service like a color service. What I was finding was, again, not a lot of stylists right now truly want to build their haircutting skills. They just don't. It's not a priority for them. The value and the technical skill delivered at the price point for their hourly rate was not at a place where clients were willing to try a haircut. And at that price point for their hourly rate was not at a place that was retaining our new clients because the technical skill wasn't there. Does that make sense? So there were so many adjustments that needed to be made. One, to get clients in the door just to experience our salon, right? And give the stylist the opportunity to get clients in their chair to begin to build this foundational skill and this foundational service that, let's be honest, is needed when clients are wanting to get everything done in one session at the salon. Not everyone wants to split their services up into 2 separate services or 2 separate visits when it comes to getting their hair done. A lot of consumers would like to get their color and haircut done in the same session. Now, it is more obvious than ever that people are being very selective with how and where they spend their time and money. And there are so many variables that are important when it comes to choosing price points for the different services inside of your business. It is the value perceived by the client. It is the technical skill delivered by the stylist. It is the client experience from start to finish. You need to hit all of those 3 points, right? In order to be charging a certain amount, in order to be setting your prices appropriately to retain and attract new guests. That in itself, the haircut services, the blowouts, those are services that people will use as an entry-level service to test the salon. And the hourly pricing at the higher price points was pricing out clients to try those, or the try me services, to book those try me services inside of our salon. So that was another huge pain point for me. Another big aha moment was some information and data. Kudos to Hunter Donia. If you are not following him, he is an amazing resource for factual information inside of our industry. And I highly recommend going over to Hair by Hunty and checking out his page. But he did a survey with 500 salon guests. That is a lot of people, BTW, to fill out a survey, right? Because people, again, are valuing their time. So they're not going to waste time on filling out a survey unless it's beneficial. So kudos to Hunter for getting 500 people to fill out this survey. In the survey, he asked about service pricing preferences for clients. So I think it was 29% of clients preferred a la carte pricing. 66% preferred session pricing. And 5% of people chose hourly pricing. Now, again, we need to build our business off of what is beneficial for us and our team, but we also need to have the consumer point of view and the consumer's wants, needs, and desires in mind too. Because without clients and without stylists, we don't have a business. But most importantly, without clients, we don't have stylists because no one wants to work for you if you're not going to help them build their books. So the consumer mindset and the consumer viewpoint is very important when you are setting up your business so that when people are actively searching for you on Google, you're hitting all the touch points they need to see in order to choose you out of the 100 salons in your area. If you need to over-explain your pricing, or if people don't understand your pricing via Google, they're not going to book with you. So your pricing needs to be very clear. Now, there's a couple points on this. You can say, well, I've got the explanation of hourly pricing on my menu. In this survey, it was, and what Hunter shared, was that people did not have trust around hourly pricing. When you don't build trust with your client, if a client doesn't trust you, they're not going to choose you. And it is under the assumption, even though we know this is not the case, it was under the assumption that hourly pricing was built in for the stylist benefits, and the stylist would milk the time to charge more money. Now, we all know that is not how hourly pricing works. The client chooses their price point, and then you fill the time with what they can get during that time frame, and they know exactly what they're paying when they walk out the door. But from the consumer standpoint, they do not understand that. Now, you can have this verbiage on your website, but let's be honest, people don't read. And we can explain this like until we're blue in the face through social media like Instagram and Facebook. But people who are actively searching for a new salon are usually coming from Google. Now, they may go and look at your social media if you've got the proper client funnel set up and they've made it to that step of your funnel. But most of the time, if they don't understand your pricing, they're just going to move right on to the next salon. And I know that there's a movement to change our industry. But again, we have to come in with a business mindset with the consumer wants and needs in our strategic planning for how we're going to do things in our business. Now let's move on to what I'm doing inside of my business to shift the changes. So 1, we are adjusting any price point that does not align with our pricing formulation, which is technical skill, it's value perceived, and it's client experience delivered. So I gave all of my stylists the option to currently keep their hourly rates and bring their service to the level it needs to be at that price point. They have 30 days to do so, or they need to lower their price point so that the value, the technical skill, and the experience meets the price point that they're charging. So I gave them that option, right? They can keep it as long as their technical and the value and all of the things aligned at the current price point, where they need to bring themselves to that level, right? Or they need to lower their rate, which they can make the decision on what that looks like for them. Okay, so that was the first thing, because we want to make sure that we are bringing the price point to a place where they can attract new clients. Here's the thing. You can have an empty chair and not have clients to help really refine you as a stylist, or you can do the hard things, make the sacrifices, and really make sure that you're priced appropriately so that you can do the work to get where you need to be and that stylist you want to be and the price you want to charge for the future. But you can't have shortcuts. and when you're outpricing your haircuts and you don't want to do the work and you don't want to think about the long-term success of your business, you're going to limit your growth or stunt your growth. Okay, so that was the first thing we did. Next, we now have session pricing based off of my stylist hourly rate, but we have 3 levels of service available inside of the salon. So we are doing session pricing. So we're going to have 3 levels of session inside of our salon. And the way I based my sessions and the amenities included in the session was based off of numbers and based off amenities offer, not just winging it and not really understanding the product usage that was going into the services that were being performed in my salon. They are very structured. They are created with a profit margin in mind and also client experience in mind, but they are strategically put together to ensure that the salon is not in the red for the service being offered at the salon. Now, first and foremost, one thing that a lot of salon owners really don't take into consideration is all of the costs that go into really creating a appropriate price point. And your overhead expenses should be configured into your services along with products used. So I did the math and I figured out what those things were. And we have 3 different levels of session options inside of our salon. We have our Bare Essentials option, which is a session that is for a more price-conscious client who is looking to receive a service, still achieve an amazing look, but doesn't want all the bells and whistles inside of their session. We have our Classic session, which includes some amenities like your bond builders and, different treatments. And then we have our Luxe option, which includes everything and anything inside of the session. So that's your bond builder, that's your toners, your treatments, your Malibu treatments, anything that the client needs to use will be included along with some more pampering amenities inside of the Luxe option. So this is rolled out for all of our services in our service menu, and our service is also including add-on services that can be added from online booking, which allows my stylist to make more money. Another thing with the hourly pricing that I found is that it caps your income because you can't raise your price every single time you want. Price increases also need to be done strategically. We need to look at the client perceived value of the service. We need to look at the technical. We need to look at the stylist demand. And we also need to look at the state of the economy when it comes to increasing your prices. Now, the add-on services are great. It's an opportunity for my stylist to make more money. And it's the client's choice if they want to add on the amenities and pay more when they book online. So these are things that we're incorporating so that the stylists have as much opportunity inside of the salon as possible to really generate an amazing income for themselves. So these are all things that we're incorporating. This is just, a simple explanation of what I am now offering at my salon. We've also added some lower price point options that I think we're missing for, again, entry-level Try Me foundational services when it came to styling and when it comes to haircuts and when it comes to your basic touch-up experience. And we are rolling this out now. And I'm really excited to test this. I'm really excited to see if our new clients increase. I'm really excited to see what bookings look like, how our numbers shift and change. And I'm really just excited to get back to, to things that just make sense in business. And I'm really excited not just to wing it. I think, in retrospect, hourly pricing seems great and it seems easy because it takes away the difficult parts of business, like having to talk about money, having to talk about add-ons, talking to clients about what they need. It takes away the necessity for difficult conversations. But let's be honest, when we do difficult things and we tackle difficult conversations, that builds our business skills, our consultation skills, and our courage. The hard things are what make us stronger. And when we take away those things from our stylists, again, we're limiting their professional growth. Like having difficult conversations is a part of life, period. And it's a part of work. And not just winging it by telling my team that they could use whatever they want. When you have team members that are really heavy-handed on product or really, really fast and they're implementing all of the amenities, that it doesn't allow your business to actually produce a profit, which is what you need to thrive. So I am really excited to roll this out. If you would like a free copy of the service menu training guide I created for my team, be sure to click the link in the show notes and receive the free guide today. You can kind of take a sneak peek at our service descriptions, what the 3 different tiers look like, what's included in each service, and how we strategically put in a very thorough training guide for our team to make sure they feel supported and educated on the changes that we're making so they feel confident going into their consultations and their day-to-day with their clients. All right. Thanks for listening. If you loved today's episode, please share, like, review, and make sure that you visit www.opulentbeautypro.com. We've got lots of freebies over there. If you are not following us yet on Instagram, make sure you head on over to Opulent Beauty Pro on Instagram. We're always sharing different freebies and different business information that could be helpful in small bite-sized pieces that are easy to digest and that can change your business performance. Thanks for tuning in to the Elevate podcast. If you loved this episode, it would mean the world to me if you would leave a review on Apple Podcast or wherever you listen. The Elevate podcast is hosted by me, Patricia Nowakowski, and is produced by Opulent Beauty Pro. To receive my free business guides, visit opulentbeautypro.com/free or click the link in the show notes. You can find me on Instagram at Opulent Beauty Pro or at Patricia_Nowakowski_OBS. If you love this show, please consider subscribing and we will see you next week.